What the hell is going on here?
I'm Ender Keating, sitting in for Joe Cole. Today we have a very special guest in the studio with us, that being Mr. Norman Patrick Brown, an acclaimed Navajo filmmaker, director, producer, and professional actor, known for his documentary work here in the area. And we're going to talk to him about an upcoming production called Rainbow Boy. So good morning, Norman.
Hey, good morning, Ender. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you were at the city council meeting the other day. What was that, the 28th?
Yeah.
And the city did approve some road closures later in August for you to do some filming for Rainbow Boy in Gallup. So tell us a little bit about what exactly is Rainbow Boy. What is it about?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Ender, for inviting me here and introduce myself. My name is Norman Patrick Brown, and I'm a writer, director, producer. Been an actor in theater and film, motion pictures. My clan, I'm Sedna Bithni. It's my mother's clan. My father's clan is Binkpatwotni. And my Nal is Anagatni, and my Che is Tkabana. And those are my clans. And I'm originally from Chinle. I was born and raised on the great Navajo Nation. Answering your question, Rainbow Boy is a story. It's a short story that I've been researching and writing for the past 6-7 months. And the Navajo is called Ishki Nats Idlib, Rainbow Boy. And basically, it's a short story. It's going to be in the Navajo language. It's a drama. It's my third drama, my third film that I've done in the Navajo language, and I'm pretty excited about the film. It's basically a story of a warrior back in 1209 who is basically a warrior. That's his vocation. You know, he's a killer. He protects his people. You know, that's what he is. And one day, real quickly, he is hunting and he follows these deer tracks, and these deer tracks go into a cave. For some reason, he decides not to go into the cave, and so he goes home and he goes sees his grandfather, his ancient grandfather, whose name is Yellow Eyes, who's blind since birth. And he sits down with his grandfather and says, "Hey, Grandpa, yeah, I was following this big buck and it went to this cave. And I almost went in." He goes, oh, grandson, hold up here." He goes, don't ever go in that cave." And he says, "Why?" He goes, "Only holy people go into that cave. That's the Rainbow Cave. That's where the rainbow begins." And Eagle Catcher's his name, the warrior. And Eagle Catcher says, "Hey, what happens if I go in?" He goes, "You won't come out." He goes, "Why?" Grandpa says, Yellow Eye says, "Because we've lost those songs. Those prayers are extinct now. Long time ago." He says, "We human beings, we used to call ourselves Nahokatli in the net, which means Holy Earth Surface People." And he says, "There was a time where we could travel and talk and visit and sing and pray with the holy beings. And we used to travel on the rainbow." And he goes, "So don't ever go in that cave." And real quickly, it moves forward, and the grandfather and the Eagle Catcher says, "How do you know these things? You're blind. How do you know what that cave is? And have you been there?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he says, Eagle Catcher says to Yellow Eyes, his grandfather, and he says, "How do you know these things?" And the old grandpa says, "Hey, look, I've seen worlds that no one's ever seen. I've been to worlds that no one could ever imagine." I guess in his dream world, in his sacred state of mind, he travels, and he describes this world that Eagle Catcher he describes this world to Eagle Catcher and says, I've been to this world where there's no water. I've been to this world where food kills people, where our elders and our children cry constantly, seeking justice and peace and harmony. I've been to this world where men became women and women became men, where people wear death on their shirts, on their clothing, where they wear black, where the leaders there do not help the people. They take advantage of the people. I didn't like this world that I saw. It's not a world I want to see. Again, I don't want to see this world again. And Eagle Catcher says, so these leaders you're talking about, he goes, yeah, they weren't good leaders. They abused their sacred obligation to their people, and that's why the land and the people are the way they are. So this conversation continues, and the Eagle Catcher says, well, I don't know about that world, but this world here. Then the old man says, don't ever forget who you are. And he goes, how could I? That's impossible. The old man says, don't ever lose your language. He goes, how can I lose my language? That's impossible. And the old man, real quickly, the old man says, one thing, this vision that I saw, this world that I went to, I saw a warrior. He was a great warrior. And he cried. The Eagle Catcher laughs and he cracks up and he goes, warriors don't cry. If this man's a warrior, if he cried, then he's not a warrior. A warrior is fearless, is afraid of nothing. And then the man says, wait. I want you to know that tears were made or created to heal us. And this warrior wasn't crying for himself. He was crying for the world that he saw. He was crying for the injustice that he saw to this land, to his Mother Earth. And he saw the destruction of this land. He also saw the loss of language and culture among his people. That's the reason why this warrior cried. This warrior that I saw, he cried with the holy people because he sensed the loss of this great culture, of his great people. And Eagle Catcher says, that's not a warrior. Well, anyway, Grandpa, I'm going to go look for a deer, this other deer for you. He goes, all right, grandson. So anyway, he goes and he finds another deer track, and it leads him to the same cave. So now there's 2 deer in this cave. So he sits there most of the day, waiting. Finally, he goes, 2 great deer, so I'm going to go in. So he goes in, and he can't come out. And he freaks out. And he's stressing, and he's about to die. He can't breathe. He's going through this really awful turmoil within himself, and he can't leave the cave. So finally, he goes to sleep, and he wakes up, and goes, wow, that was a bad dream. So he wakes up, and he walks outside the cave, and he says, I'm free. When he says that, an airplane flies right over him. Zoom, the airplane flies over. And he freaks out, and he runs back into the cave. And he goes, what the heck was that? Where am I? Well, anyway, he's transported through that rainbow cave to the year 2009. So it's like 800 years later, 900 years later, 800 years later.
Do something for this guy,
Who knows where he's from?
Just like you, man. I'm lost, man. I'm lost just as much as you are.